Can you explain to people what poverty means in Ghana versus what poverty means in America?
And I have to give the caveat. We grew up American poor, but I have never experienced, but I know, the stories of only having one meal a day, or, basically if you don't grow it, you don't eat it. Having to share, with other siblings, having, one pair of shoes, having, tattered clothes that, the way we are with our kids now, they outgrow something or they rip something, we just replace it. So it bred in me an appreciation, one, hard work, not expecting anything to be given to me, delayed gratification, knowing that things will come in time, if you're diligent. And so that's what I've heard and that's what I've seen, but that's not what I experienced. And I'm so grateful, to my parents. I think about that often, how my life would be so different, if they had not have brought me here. So I try to make the most of it and make them proud.
How is it growing up that way?
It was very different now that I look at it. But what's funny is that, like all of us, you don't know that your upbringing is different until you leave home and you realize, oh, not everybody is raised this way. I'm going to take off. But I grew up, my parents came to the States for education.
Okay.
Like most immigrants did. They met in college and wanted to come to the US for advanced degrees. And I believe the original goal was to go back to Ghana and teach using their, American degrees. But they saw the opportunity here and they saw how my brother and I were doing. And so they decided to go all the way to advanced degrees. So both of my parents, mom and dad, have PhDs.
I'm going to dig a little bit deeper and please just speak freely. As an African American living in America, now I have traveled overseas, but I'm going to just put myself straight in America. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest issues that we see, especially amongst people that look like me, born and raised in America, we always had the argument that people holding us down. Don't mean I agree, but I'm just going with the argument. People holding us down. We need reparations. We need all of this stuff in order for us to advance. Mm. But you said something in a bubble that was very interesting. You said the people you affiliated with was whether they came from Africa or they came from Jamaica or they came from Trinidad. Mm-hmm. They look like you, but they came from different places in what's now called the diaspora. From an outside looking in, what do you think we're missing in America that's holding us back? That's not allowing us to see the opportunities? Because some will say, and I'm going to give their argument, some will say slavery caused us to have all these issues. And because slavery causes us to have all these issues and laws and all this other stuff, we can't move forward. So that would be one side of the argument. But I also see a theme amongst Black immigrants. And there's a battle, but from your vantage point, especially growing up at the age of 1. So it's not like you came from Ghana at 15 and came here and did all that stuff. From your vantage point, what do you see? What's going on from the outside looking in?
Wow, yeah, that's a heavy question. I remember my parents always telling me, Maggie, remember, you're an African girl, you're an African girl. And I would think, but I'm just like everybody else. To answer your question, what I think is missing is that I'll start by saying slavery was very real and the effects of it are still very real. However, I think poverty in the United States compared to poverty in other countries in the world is very different. Our poor, and I'm an American citizen now, but poor people in America, there are poor people in other countries who obviously we see, they risk their life, to come here. Fortunately for me, my parents came on student visas. And so I saw them, go to school the way that I shared with you. But I remember certain memories. My dad was shocked that in regular public school, we got new textbooks every few years. He was shocked. There was nothing wrong with the textbook that we had. Why are they giving you a new one? He started collecting, outdated textbooks and shipping them back home. I remember when I was taking notes in a textbook once, and I was actually writing in the book, he was, you don't write in books. The education, the ability to be educated is so precious. What I know growing up here, I have a very small nuclear family, and
Mhm.
my mom and dad have shared with me, and I've since been to Ghana, but growing up as a child, they told me often, I believe my mom is the youngest of, I may get the numbers wrong, but 8 to 10, and my dad is the youngest of 8 to 10. Back in the day, you had a lot of children to help on the farm. And so their older brothers and sisters, would be my uncles, would be, 10, 12 years older than them. And unfortunately, the older siblings had to help, in the farm. And so only the younger ones were able to be sent to school, because by this time you have the support of the siblings that are helping to send. Another thing that I remember, the fact that school is free here in the States.
Mhm.
I believe in Ghana, my parents told me that it's free up to age 5, which is common in a lot of developing countries. And so after a fifth grade education, if your family doesn't have money, you go to work, the family business, whatever that is. So the fact that my parents were able to go to, middle school or junior high, and then high school, and then junior college where they met, and then come to the States, called me a elite from the outside looking in. They are a great success.